Antarctica is the trip of a lifetime. This video is 4 amazing days in Antarctica. Penguins, whales, ice the size of skyscrapers, icebergs, and crossing the Drake Passage on a major cruise line, saving $20,000. We're going to show you exactly what you can see from a mainstream cruise ship.
Hi y'all, I'm Jeff.
And I'm Becky.
And together we're cruising a good time. Antarctica is a trip of a lifetime. We spent 4 full days in the Antarctic Peninsula in January 2026, and each day was completely unique. We had different weather every day. We saw different animals, different glaciers, and different icebergs every single day.
Antarctica is Alaska on steroids. Stick around for the end of this video where we'll talk about our infamous crossing of the Drake Passage.
This is the 3rd video in our Antarctica and Patagonia series, so be sure to subscribe right now so you don't miss any of the critical cruise information we're publishing.
Let's start talking about day 1.
Day 1, we arrived, we're outside Anvers Islands at the Palmer Weather Station, which is a U.S. camp right there on Anvers Island. I step out on the bow of the ship because All in America will open up the bow of the ship to the passengers. And all I could think about was ice. I'd never seen that much ice before in my life. Ice, 180 degrees around you, everywhere you could look, and just mountains of ice everywhere. It was really phenomenal.
It was, and some of these mountains are 12,000 feet tall. So when you look at these videos, and even when you're in person, it's hard to really imagine just how much ice you're dealing with.
Yes, it's really incredible out there. And we spent about an hour right there at the Palmer Weather Station, that general vicinity, just kind of checking things out and looking at it. Then we went through the Lemur Channel, saw some more ice, some more mountains and wildlife. And then we made our way over to the British camp, which is Port Lockney over on Winkney Island. That was also pretty cool because you could mail a postcard from there.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. So you could buy these little postcards and send them off. And those mailed in January were received in April. So don't put anything too important in there.
A lot of penguins right there at Winkney Island. We're sitting there watching them and kind of go around and just really taking it in. And here's an interesting thing about it is that we're parked right by an expedition ship on all that. We saw the exact same ice, the exact same penguins, the exact same rocks, everything we saw. They saw from the expedition ship paying a lot more money than what we did.
No matter what the itinerary was in your brochure or what it was told it was going to be to you while en route to Antarctica, plans change. I think we started with plan A as we got to Antarctica and ended with plan O. So on the first day, we were supposed to overnight in Paradise Bay. And we were trying to come in one way, and the captain noticed that there was too much ice developing. He was going to come in a different route. And when he spoke to the expedition ships, they were seeing so much frazzle and pancake ice developing that they were actually leaving Paradise Bay. So it ended up, we overnighted in Delman Bay, and that ended up being an awesome thing.
Yeah, that was really a blessing in disguise there because we overnighted there day 2. The weather was terrible. We had snow, we had sleet, we had rain, we had 45, 50 mile an hour winds at times. The whales didn't care. The whales were everywhere. And you just sit there on the deck and watch the whales. And we saw so many whales that day.
It was phenomenal whale viewing. Now, I cannot stay outside for all that period of time. So what's wonderful thing about this large ship is there's great places to view. Yep. So like I could go up on the Lido deck. We had a table by outside where we could look right over, had lunch there. Also, there was terrific viewing at the Crow's Nest. And at the Crow's Nest, when I was there, I was enjoying the view. I was right at the window, and then I could run outside and get video whenever there was something I really wanted to see, or if it looked like when we got in that pack of orcas, I went ahead, bundled back up, went back to the bow of the ship, and got some amazing whale viewing. So it was fabulous that they had so many terrific places that you could be inside, enjoy a hot cup of coffee or cocoa, and just run out periodically instead of being outside the entire time.
One neat thing All in America does in that Crow's Nest is they had a little part of it sectioned off. It was called the Antarctic Experience. And they had a lot of displays there, maps, information, books that you could read, all sorts of information on Antarctica, everything you can imagine. That was a lot of fun.
Yes, and during the time period, they had an expert out on the bow at all times, and they had somebody else that was up in the on the bridge, and they were doing a shore excursion announcement like continuously. So like when you're in the crow's nest, you could hear about all the things, and if there was something special that was heading up starboard or bow, you could run out ahead of time so you could really see it when you're close up to it.
On the whales, we saw a ton of humpback whales out there, and we saw 3 of them. It may have been a mom and 2 calves, I don't really know, but they were practiced bubble feeding right there. Later on that day, we saw the orcas, and it was an orca convention. I mean,
yeah, I lost count at 24 orcas that I could count out in the water like individually, and obviously they don't all come up at the same time, so it was tough.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it was over 24. And they were feeding, and it was amazing.
it was phenomenal.
And it was really cute that there was a mom, and she was doing the tail slapping, and it was like she was teaching her baby about the tail slapping.
Yep.
And I've done a little bit of reading about this, you know, whether it be a means of communicating or it's a means of, sometimes it's a way to try to drive their prey into certain places. And it's believed that it's utilized for both.
Another thing we did on day 2 was went over by Culver Island, which is an island right there that has a huge penguin colony on it.
You know, and it was just fascinating to see, like there's this, you know, really steep hill that the penguins, man, they've made their homes all the way up the hill. It was just phenomenal. And although we've seen March of the Penguin, yet we're still somewhat surprised about them being able to go up this steep hill, and they have their homes long way from the sea.
So the morning of day 3, the weather broke. It was absolutely gorgeous out there. We went over into Charlotte Bay, which is on the mainland part of Antarctica. It's not on one of the islands out there. Phenomenal ice and rock structures, a lot of icebergs there as well. And we saw a sleeping humpback whale there. And the naturalist on board was telling us about that the humpback whale will turn off half its brain at a time and sleep, and then one half stays on and does the bobbing so it can breathe and kind of be aware of its surroundings and all that.
The weather was so beautiful and the water clear enough that the crew dropped one of the tender boats and went out and picked up some of the bergy ice.
So they brought that piece of ice up there on deck in the crow's nest, and you could kind of look at it and check it out. It was kind of fun to do. We left Charlotte Bay that morning or that afternoon, made our way into the Bransfield Strait, heading towards to Deception Island up in the South Shetland Islands. And along that way, we saw some phenomenal icebergs. I mean, there are shapes I would never even dream that icebergs would form. It was really a lot of fun to take that in.
Oh, I loved it. And I love that the captain, he called up all the crew and asked them on one of them to make sure they took time to come outside and have a nice viewing of it.
The cruise up to Deception Island took a little bit of time. It took the rest of the day. We made it up there right before sunset, which is about 11 o'clock at night. Another huge penguin colony right there. Chinstrap penguins all over the place on that island. They went way up the hill.
Around 11:30 at night, we had the perfect ending to the day. This beautiful sunset. Penguins were just so much fun for this trip, where it was that or watching them on icebergs.
We have a whole nother video we've already released, and that is on the 4 best places to see penguins up in South America, Patagonia, without even having to go down to Antarctica. Some great penguin viewing up there. Day 4 of the trip, we were up in King George Island, which is the largest island in the South Shetland Islands. And here's an important tip if you're there. There's a lot of research stations and weather stations there from different countries around the world, and they all have cell towers. And you need to turn cell roaming off on your phone, or you may bind up and get roaming charges in China, and 10 minutes later you'll have roaming charge in Chile, and 10 minutes later you'll have a roaming charge in Poland.
If you've taken our advice from other videos and you're just on airplane mode anyway, you won't have a problem with any of this.
Admiralty Bay on King George Island is a great place to do it. We spent all day long in Admiralty Bay. It's kind of 3-pronged. We went in all 3 of the different areas of it. One thing we saw in Admiralty Bay that was just great was some fantastic glacier calving off that glacier right there.
Oh, it was phenomenal. The captain had brought that large ship up fairly close to the land. You know, they're deep waters. And it was a spectacular calving. What's kind of sad with everything here in Antarctica, everything is so huge and you don't have something next to it, especially when you film, you can't tell how enormous things are. Because this really is like Alaska on steroids. It made a tremendous wave. And I was glad that we were in the larger ship. And I'm not sure how well an expedition ship would have done through all that.
Yep.
I have always been amused by the terminology associated as you head south through the Drake Passage, through the different latitudes. So you have the roaring 40s,
The furious 50s.
and the screaming 60s.
The Drake Passage, in case you don't know, is that body of water between South America and Antarctica where the Atlantic and the Pacific Oceans all join. So it's got a lot of crazy winds, a lot of crazy currents. The salinity is a little bit different between the Atlantic and Pacific. A lot of stuff going on, and it's just a recipe for rough seas. We had to leave King George Island a couple hours early to miss some storms. There were 3 hurricane-force storms that were circling the globe in the Southern Sea at that point. We had to leave a couple hours early so the captain could shoot the gap in between the 2 storms. Did a great job on that. We didn't have too bad with it. We had 20-foot seas in there, which is considered pretty normal for a Drake Passage. It can be a whole heck of a lot worse, and some people get it really smooth. It takes about 36 hours to cross the Drake Passage in a ship. Most of the bad stuff we had was really at nighttime.
We recommend that you take some sort of cruise to Antarctica instead of flying in on an airplane. You take the airplane over, you land on King George Island, and you're not going to see as much of Antarctica as if you've come in by a cruise ship. We hope you've enjoyed this 3rd video of our Antarctica and Patagonia series. And if you do, please give it a hype.
And subscribe right now so you don't miss any of our other critical cruise content that's coming out. We publish about once a week, and it's always something very useful that you're going to need for planning your cruise vacation.
Until next time, have a cruising good time.